What do you think about ID 2020, viewers? What do you think about this ID 2020 stuff? Right? So the president of the United States is possibly, at some point, possibly will mobilize their military, mobilize not there, but the military, when a vaccine is, I guess, approved. He'll mobilize the military to have 300 or so million vaccines injected in the bodies of Americans. Now, this is part of what I'm trying to. You see, when I'm making these videos, and I'm really speaking to my audience in general, but I really am asking young people, the youth, young people who are presumably the future of this nation, to really take heed as to what's going on, to really take heed and to really think critically and to really make sort of like calculated decisions. Think for yourselves, adopt some type of independent thought processes so that you can see what's going on and really do something, because I do agree that those of us who have matured in life, we've experienced things, and through these experiences we've gained some form of wisdom through the knowledge that we've accumulated over the years, over the decades. And I get that, and we'd like to be able to impart the wisdom to the youth so that they don't slip and fall like we did, right? But this is what I'm talking about here. So this is, I guess, an attempt that I'm making to tap into the young people, to tap in, to really show and share information. ID 2020. If a person doesn't want to take a vaccine, what will that make them now? Become a target because they don't want to submit to the oppressive nature of the government now? You know, like this whole thing now, this whole thing surrounding COVID, and it's again going back to this thing about freedom. Americans want their freedom back, but at what cost, right? Because if you're not free, you'll have to submit and deal with stay at home, quarantine, wearing a mask, taking tests, contact tracing, having ID 2020, where you will essentially be followed. Everything is just will be, just recorded in some type of artificially intelligent database. There you go with your freedom. There goes your freedom. Okay, like, what is this all about? What is this all about? It's incredibly divisive. It's incredibly divisive. Divide and conquer is just like an understatement in this aspect right now. Divide and conquer is an understatement. People, it's just the more you see what's going on, the more you can put the pieces together in this crazy puzzle, and you could find the truth, right? If you read between the lines, you could find the truth, because it's staring at us in the face. It's staring at us in the face. Now, are we willing to really accept the truth is the problem. And then what are we going to do about it when we understand what's going on or what we're not being told? Because there's not only a war going on against a public health crisis, there's also a war going on against sort of like this national or worldly global control, these power shifts that are taking place among government leaders, even the banks, central banks. There's this shift now Yes, there's a transference of wealth, a great transference of generational wealth that's taking place at the same time. There's a great transference of power or that's up for grabs. And the United States is in that mix. The United States, make no mistake, is in that mix. And people just, I mean, come on. It's deeper than what we see on the surface. It's much deeper than what we see on the surface. How can a president, when a president says certain things, like hopefully by the end of this year there'll be a vaccine, when the opposite side says it could take 18 months or even longer, 1 year to 18 months to even longer to have vaccines after they go through their clinical trials and levels of approval, right? But the president is telling you by the end of this year, which is what, 7 months away, in less than a year, a vaccine can be produced. Like this is why I say somebody always knows what's going on. He may not be as accurate, he may not be correct, but people know. People know. In one respect, there's the argument, and again, one side, freedom versus slavery. One side, folks want to reopen, they want to get back to their lives, they want to run their businesses, they want to work, earn income, live their lives. The other argument is no, because there's a pandemic going on, so stay home, take these tests, have them trace your whereabouts, wear this mask. They say that people are also dying being at home. Like that factor is not even being acknowledged by the side that's saying stay at home. Like, again, a whole bunch of issues ensue, have arisen since people have been forced to stay at home. People are climbing up the walls. Violence is taking place in different shapes and forms. You think it's just people drinking alcohol? You think there's just alcoholism that's arisen? You think that's all that's going on? You don't think there's domestic violence? You don't think there's all types of child abuse, maltreatment, and neglect that's taking place right now? You don't think, yes, substance abuse through the roof? All kinds of different levels of violence are taking place. People are getting sick being at home. People are getting sick feeling jailed, with very little recourse or leader. We're not hearing answers, just from the leadership enough to help us know that, okay, where is this headed, with some sense of clarity, because this is about control. Now think about it. They talk about second waves, right, to keep you scared so that you can adopt and accept the narrative and the story of staying at home. Accept it. You're just gonna have to stay at home, and guess what? We're gonna do it for 60 days. Then it's gonna be 90 days. Then it's gonna be a few months. Then guess what? We'll be locked down for the rest of this year. When they knew from the beginning what they're trying to do. They knew it. They're telling lies to our vision. They knew it. They know what's going on, people. They emphatically know what's going on. So now that they can't control people, because people are now, really becoming restless and want to get back to work, they say, oh, see, look at all these cases that are rising. Look at all these cases that are rising now, COVID positives that are rising. Yeah, but people at home had it already when they've been quarantined, and then what? Oh, so now we're going to mandate people. When they go to work, they have to take a test. They have no choice. What do you mean they have no choice? What's going to happen if they decide they don't want to take a test? They're going to be out of a job? Because this disease is what's causing people to put in these policies, these strongholds on people. Initiate these guardrails under the guise of, public health crises, under the guise of, this national disaster, this emergency crisis. So we're going to put up these safeguards. It's not to control you. It's not to keep you enslaved. It's just to protect you, so you won't have to die a devastating COVID-related death. What? So they'll talk the second wave thing. Oh, there's another wave coming in the fall. Yeah, don't get too relaxed. Don't get too relaxed. Now children now are being affected by COVID-like or inflammatory symptom-like disease that occurs after they've been positive with COVID. These are the reasons why they're telling you. These are the reasons why you need to stay at home. You need to wear your mask. You need to take these handouts that the government is taking you. We're paying you to stay home. So do that. So stay in control. You don't see how you don't see that? You don't see that though? You don't see that staying at home is keeping you locked down? But they're telling you, see how you have loved ones that are dying. You see the mind game, the psychological programming that's taking place all at the same time. They're going to appeal to your sensibilities. They're going to say, you see how this relative passed away, this friend passed away. You see people are passing away due to this illness that's going on. So you need to stay safe. You need to be at home. You need to wear a mask when you come outside. You need to practice social distancing. Not acknowledging that when you're home, you don't think an illness is festering and brewing that way as well? How about the people who've been positive at home? Like this is, but it's not being talked about. It's not being brought to light. It's not being brought to light. It's things like the president, or it's things like, ID2020. To push this narrative, we're going to use a pandemic to push the narrative to further, to enact severe constructs that restrict mobility and our ability to exercise our freedom and rights naturally. Wake up, people, please. Like, for real. It's not about being woke in the ghetto vernacular. It's about just being aware and just open your eyes. And this was going back to what I was saying. How does the president know that at the end of this year there'll be a vaccine? Because guess what? He has to answer to someone else too. And this person is not the sky daddy in the sky that, many of us swear. No. He has to answer to someone else. And that someone else could be a group of people, again, that we're not privy to. How many times did he change his story up during this last 3-4 months? It's the beginning of the year regarding COVID. How many times has he changed his story? Because he's only a person. His job is extraordinarily difficult. Many of us couldn't handle that. Absolutely. That's why he's where he is. He has to make the decisions, the hard decisions. And the decisions change often because he doesn't make decisions solely on his own. He gets information, and it's more than just information from his cabinet. It's more than information from his task force. It's more than information from administrators who he might have appointed. They're higher bodies. They're higher bodies that also have a say. And I've been saying this, and this is for the young people to understand. There are higher bodies that are at work, that are also moving the pieces and pawns and pieces on the chessboard, influencing the decision making that's going on a global scale. Initially, the president didn't believe that the coronavirus was serious. Initially, the president wasn't pro-vaccine. Initially, the president, but then it changed, right? Now it's about the now it's what it is. It's wartime. The narrative has changed though, because now it's about reopening. He can't talk about that narrative anymore because it's about reopening. It doesn't matter how many people continue to die. It's about reopening. Wasn't pro-vaccine, but now he's talking about the vaccine and how the vaccine can come, possibly at the end of this year. This is not information he's dreaming about. He doesn't dream about these things. He's not that powerful. Understand? It's information he's receiving, being told. And so naturally, he reacts the way he reacts, but he doesn't have 100% absolute power. If he said it, which he said it, he has total authority. Well, yeah, you'll say that when your ego is at maximum levels. Sure. But in truth, he doesn't. He can exercise a great deal of authority, but he doesn't have absolute maximum authority on this planet. Not by no means a stretch of the imagination. People don't buy into that. Don't buy into that. Okay? No world leader or presumed world leader has absolute authority on what's going on in this planet. There's bodies of governance that are already in place for that have been in place for that before our time, and will continue to be in place for that after our time. So understand what I'm saying. Things are much more, the message is staring at us. Sometimes the elements we have to be aware enough and conscious enough to see what's staring at us in our face. We can't be aloof. We can't be indifferent. We cannot be disconnected at this time more than ever. You have to pay more attention now more than ever. If you really want to continue to have a stake, if you really want to preserve your natural life, be vigilant, be aware, be active, be a positive proponent in what we're doing here and what's going on.